Hey guys, it's Monday and it's time for the Monday motivation video. This is the start of another great week. A lot of you have today off, so if you do, I hope you rest, spend time with family and friends, and get yourself geared up for another great week. I want to talk to you today about faith versus fear. Just real quickly, huge subject, can't get into it completely in a short video, but I want to give you some things to think about this week when you're facing all the challenges and opportunities that you have in front of you. So faith versus fear. I think at first blush, a lot of people tend to hear that faith word and they think of something in the realm of spirituality. And I want to tell you that's not always the case. What faith really means is just faith in something bigger than yourself, faith in an outcome, faith in something that you believe can happen. In fact, if we look at the definition of it, let me just read to you one definition here, that faith is a feeling, a conviction or belief that something is true or real, not contingent on reason or justification. So that's really what faith is. Now, faith and fear are opposites. They cannot coexist together. You're either in one or you're in the other. So what is fear? Well, fear is a lot of things. I like to use the acronym of false evidence appearing real for fear because mostly that's what it is for a lot of us. But let me read to you a definition of fear. It is a strong, uncontrollable, unpleasant emotion caused by actual or perceived danger or threat. So yes, at times it's an actual threat. If I'm walking down the middle of the street and there's a truck barreling towards me, there's natural and actual and true fear that hopefully will save my life if I act on it. But the majority of the fear that we experience is perceived and not based in reality. So faith versus fear. So my first question to you is, which one are you in today? Because walking in fear will shut down your future. When you're making decisions from a place of fear, they will be decisions that are not based in growth. They are not based in possibility. They are based in keeping you safe. They are based in shrinking you from your future. Whereas faith and faith-based decisions tend to pull you into your future, tend to be purpose-driven decisions, tend to be decisions that give you opportunity and open doors. Now, just yesterday, I took a day trip to West Point Academy, which is only like an hour or so north of where I live. Took a friend, took some of the kids. Love going there because I love history, and this time of the year, it's incredibly beautiful on the Hudson River. And I just am always inspired when I visit West Point. Now, I thought to myself while we were on tour, wow, it never ceases to amaze me, the kids that choose to go into this academy, the kids that make that choice, the kids that have this as their life dream. And I happen to have one child who keeps telling me this is what he wants to do. He's young enough that we'll see if that sticks, but making that decision with the knowledge of what you're getting into, with the knowledge of how difficult and challenging it is, with the understanding and the information that a lot of kids wash out that first summer, those first 6 weeks of military training when they're trying to be a cadet. They've been accepted, but they're trying to obviously start their freshman year. And knowing what they know, what we know as civilians, what they tell us of how difficult and challenging it is, not only to get in, but what you experience and what you go through as a cadet, especially your first year. We know that as civilians, imagine how much more these kids know once they get into the program. That to me could be a great source of fear, knowing what you're going to come up against, knowing, and it's fear-based in reality. I mean, these things are going to happen to you. This will be asked of you. This pressure will be put upon you. But yet, these kids that are driven by purpose and destiny to make this decision, they look beyond that. Certainly has to be some fear in their hearts about what they're going to go through. It can't be all just easy for them to consider. But what I believe they're able to do, and what I urge you to do, is they're able to look beyond the fear. And their fear is based in actual things that they'll be doing. They look beyond it to see the end. They keep their eyes on, I want to graduate from West Point. I want a career in the military, or I just want that time to help me later in my life to be more effective in a civilian career. Whatever it is that they want out of it, they're committing their lives, they're committing their time, and they're committing themselves to something much bigger than themselves and to something that's going to be extremely difficult. But they do that because these special kids have in their mind the end first. They see themselves graduating. They see themselves doing what they've dreamed of doing with this experience as part of that. And I believe that has to be the only way they can make it through some of the most difficult moments that they experience as cadets at West Point. So that is a lesson really for us, because so often we create barriers in our life and fear that aren't even based in reality, much less something that we know we're going to experience. And that stops us. Faith goes out the window. We lose faith in something bigger. We lose faith in an anticipated outcome that's positive, and we're staring fear in the face. And whether the fear is real or perceived, it can stop us. And how do we get past that? We've got to step back into faith and faith in the outcome. We have to have a bigger perspective. We have to see the end, keep our eyes on the goal, which is what will get us through the fear. And listen, if these 18-year-old, 19-year-old kids that graduate from high school and willingly go into something as difficult as West Point, if they can survive that, if they can go through that process with the end in mind and be willing to go through all the things that would definitely induce fear in most of us, we can do that. We can do that. We just lose sight of the fact that there is an end goal at times. We become consumed by the fear around us. So I urge you this week, stay in faith, not in fear. Have faith in a better outcome. Have faith in what your goal is. Have faith in where you're trying to go. And know that you will face fear. And know that things will come against you and things that you have to go through. And that's okay. Be willing to go through them if they're in front of you. Be willing to go through the barrier to get to the other side. So I definitely think that that will help you this week as you face your challenges that we all have. And I want you to listen tomorrow to my podcast. I had a great interview last night with George Kaloff, who is a young, budding, amazing entrepreneur, only 28 years old, has done some incredible things in his industry already, and is definitely someone to watch. And he talks about how his company tries to operate in fearlessness through faith. And again, faith not always talking about something spiritual, but faith being the opposite of fear. So if you want to hear more about fearlessness through faith and his path, tune in tomorrow. It's always released around 7 a.m. Eastern. A great podcast interview that I think you'll enjoy. So everyone, have a wonderful week. Stay in faith, kick out fear. The two cannot live together. And I hope you have a fabulously successful week, and I will see you again online.